And we're going to begin our conversation with Bernie Sanders. Just give me a second. Um, oh, I believe, let's see here. Once he gets his camera on, showing that he's muted right now. Hey, Senator Sanders, how are
All
you?
right.
How
Good. How
are
are
you,
you?
Senators? Good. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on here live on Twitch. Uh, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Austin Show. I'm a Twitch streamer. You guys want to introduce yourself? Pokey, Saikuno?
Mr. Sanders, my name's Pokey. So nice to meet you. I'm a big fan, as you can tell.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
And
hello,
go
Mr.
ahead, Saikuno.
Sanders. I'm Saikuno. Normally, I have a regular camera, but I have a skin condition, so I'm using this avatar. Do you know what
Okay.
a VTuber is?
Okay.
Have you heard of a VTuber before?
Nope.
No,
No?
that's
I'm
all
the
right.
first one.
Yeah, it's the first
Woohoo!
one.
Thank you
Senator
so much
Sanders.
for supporting VTubers.
It's
It's a-
when they have this animated profile or icon.
That's me.
Mhm.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's believe me,
You're looking
I
good.
understand.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's
Looking
looking
very
good. Yeah, Senator Sanders,
Thank you, thank you.
it's a pleasure to have you on here again. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk about very important issues. And I'd like to give you the floor. I understand you'd like to say some things to get us started.
Well, first of all, thanks very much for organizing this live stream. Bottom line is, this is the most consequential election in our lifetimes. You have a guy, as I hope everybody understands, really does not believe in democracy. What democracy is about is you can disagree with me. You can vote against me. Then we have an election. And if I lose, I congratulate you. If you lose, you congratulate me. We have a peaceful transition of power. That's called American democracy. For the first time in the history of the United States, our long and extraordinary history, we had a guy who said, I'm not going to leave power. I lost the election, but I'm not going to leave. He fomented an insurrection to try to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Are terribly concerned about climate change, as they should be. We see with our own eyes what's happened recently in Florida, in North Carolina, the terrible forest fires that we had in California, in Canada, the heat waves in Europe, massive flooding in China. On and on it goes. Every scientist who has studied the issue understands that climate change is real. Austin, do you know what Donald Trump's view is on climate change?
Well, Senator Sanders, I've heard him talk about it, and he mentioned, I think at one point, he said it would create more oceanfront property in Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's that sums up his view. Thank you, Senator Sanders. We really appreciate it. I understand that now you're going to give us an opportunity. We can ask you some questions. Is that right?
Fire
Well, thank
away.
you. Thank you so much. Well, look, Senator Sanders, and I'm going to say this out to the audience. If you have a question for Senator Sanders, please feel free to put in the chat. If we're able to pull it out, we'll go ahead and ask it. Senator Sanders, I'd like to start off by asking something that is near and dear to a lot of the folks that are watching today. Our community, a lot of communities across the website have been calling for a ceasefire and an end to Israel's actions in Gaza, and I understand you share this position as well. A lot of folks have been opposed to the Biden-Harris administration's military and financial support of Israel. We know that you've been opposed as well, but you're supporting the ticket. So we want to know, can you talk about why you're supporting her, given your opposition to the Gaza stance?
All right. That's a very important question. Thanks for asking. So let me back it up a little bit. A year ago, October 7th, Hamas, which is a terrible terrorist organization, waged a horrific attack against Israel, killed 1,200 innocent men, women, and children, took several hundred hostages. In my view, Israel, like any other country, had the right to defend itself against Hamas. But what it did not have the right to do is go to war against the entire Palestinian people. And that is what Israel, under a very right-wing government, killing 42,000 people out of a population of 2.2 million, 2/3 of whom are women, children, and the elderly. They have wounded injured over 100,000, again, 2/3 women, children, and the elderly. They have destroyed the healthcare system in Gaza. They have bombed every university in Gaza, destroyed the infrastructure in Gaza, destroyed about 60% of the housing in Gaza, displaced people, driven them here, there, and elsewhere. And now, as bad as that is, what is even worse, as a result of Israel under Netanyahu blocking humanitarian aid, today we're looking at thousands and thousands of children suffering from malnutrition and facing starvation. Now, as it happens, that is grossly immoral, unacceptable, and it is against the law. The United States of America, by law, cannot be funding a government which is denying humanitarian aid to civilians. So what we are doing right now is illegal in my view. And that's why, I have fought against financial aid, military aid to the Israeli government for offensive weapons. They have a right to defend themselves for offensive weapons. And why, when Congress reconvenes after the election, I will have the resolution, it's called a joint resolution of disapproval, where we will have a vote to deny Israel being able to buy U.S. military equipment. So, I agree very much with people who are terribly concerned about what's going on there. Now, the Biden administration, I was just with the president today. I think on domestic issues, he has been very, very strong. I think on this issue, he is dead wrong. And I have talked to him over and over again. But all I would say to people say, well, I can't vote for Harris because I disagree with her on Israel and Gaza. Trump on even this issue is worse. He is worse. He is more pro-Netanyahu than Biden and Harris are. While 60 million people are living paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. I think many of your viewers are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay the rent, to pay for food, to pay for healthcare. And it is an extremely stressful life. In the midst of that, as you have indicated, the minimum wage has not been raised for a very, very long time. And today it is an embarrassingly low $7.25 an hour. What we have got to do, among many other things, is raise the minimum wage to a living wage. Okay, and I've introduced the legislation in the Senate to do that. In my own perspective, my own view, is that minimum wage should be at least $17 an hour. Because you have now, it's not that you have so many people working for $7.25 an hour, but you have millions of people working for $9, $10, $12 an hour. And you tell me, whether you're in New York City or in rural America, you can't make it on $12 an hour. You just can't. So it seems to me that if people are going to work 40 hours a week, they should not be living in poverty. Now, the difference here, you may have seen the other day, Donald Trump was in McDonald's doing what he was doing,
Yes.
flipping hamburgers or whatever he was doing.
Yep.
And a reporter said to him, Mr. Trump, what's your view on the minimum wage? And then he completely ducked the question because he doesn't believe in raising the minimum wage. He talked about how great McDonald's workers are. Truth is, you got thousands of McDonald's workers and millions of other workers trying to get by 12, 13, 14 bucks an hour. I believe we should raise the minimum wage to 17 bucks an hour. Kamala Harris believes that we should raise it to at least $15 an hour. If you raise it to 15 bucks an hour, not enough for me, but a good start, we can help the lives of millions and millions of working people. Trump does not believe we should raise the minimum wage. Kamala, 15 bucks an hour, at least, is what I think she said.
Hey, am I on camera?
You are. We see you perfectly.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Hi,
you're good.
Senator Sanders. First off, thank you so much for doing this. My hand is literally shaking. I'm talking to a celebrity. Obviously, Donald Trump has a lot of weirdo billionaire backers. People like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Mr. Dark Mag himself. I have a lot of family who are strong Trump supporters, but also care deeply about things like Social Security. So what would you tell my family to convince them that Trump's plans of all these tax cuts for billionaires, how would you convince them that this is actually not in their best interest?
when Trump was president, I think if he were on the show, he would tell you that his proudest achievement was the tax cuts that he implemented.
Right.
And they were huge. 83% of them went to the top 1%.
Right.
Now, Kamal, I am guessing that your family, maybe I'm wrong, is probably not in the top 1%.
They're definitely not. The definition of middle class.
Okay. So we don't need, at a time when the rich are doing phenomenally well, more tax breaks for the rich. What do we need? We need to strengthen Social Security. I believe, that we should expand Social Security benefits. What I will tell you is that 80% of the Republicans in the House of Representatives think we should cut Social Security. They think we should move to the privatization of Medicare. So if you believe that we should keep Medicare and Social Security strong, I do not think it's wise to be voting for Donald Trump. If you think we should raise the minimum wage, you should not be voting for Trump. If you believe that health care is a human right, when Trump was president, he tried to end the Affordable Care Act.